All right, welcome to episode number 11 of On the King's Dime. It is Monday, the 26th of November, the weekend of the loss to Melbourne in Melbourne. Bit of a dodgy stretch down the end of that game. We did well to come back.
Shunkaroony.
And then we kind of blew it towards the end. We'll go through all of that action, but first, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us on your favorite RSS podcast feeds. Just search On the King's Dime.
As well as iTunes.
Yes.
iTunes.
And if you are into the NBA, you can find our NBA coverage at Aussie NBA Takeover or Oz NBA Takeover. If you're into the NBA, you can find us there and like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. Do all sorts of different things to get us out there, because we will keep making content as the season goes on for both the NBL and the NBA. But now the somber tones for this game.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, it was an 84-82 loss to our rivals in Melbourne. It was on Saturday at 2:50.
It was an exciting first half.
Yeah, we played really well in the first half.
I think they played really well too, and then it just died.
Yeah.
And we played very poorly as a team. We had some good individual performances, but as a team, we played very poorly, defended very poorly. Man, their offensive board crashing was just so much better than ours. It was just ridiculous.
And we said it on the last podcast.
Yeah.
We had to look out for offensive rebounds. We had done some pretty good work, I think, in the games previously to kind of mop that up, but in this game again, it reared its ugly head.
14-7, just like that's just look at second chance points, like 14-7. You can't win a game.
Nah, and
you can't win a game.
Ultimately, the game coming down to an offensive board tip in, which pretty much buried us.
Yeah,
that's where, like, obviously throughout the game, like watching the team this season, this stuff happens all the time. Like you're watching this team going offensive rebounds are killing us every game. Like we haven't really tightened that up. Like maybe we should.
No, because it's really, if Bogut's on the floor, he either grabs the board or, no one kind of spreads out to the areas that need to be spread out. They just kind of bunch and ball watch. David Ware is notorious for ball watching. Notorious.
Yeah.
I think Bowen played so well in this game. Was very lucky to get extended minutes and used them very wisely. He grabbed 5 boards, 1 offensive, but just played superbly. But I mean, really, Kickett is not boarding well at all.
No, he's kind of struggling physically.
Yeah. David Ware grabbed a few boards, but he played the 5 spot for a good stretch down the last quarter. And it just seems like our bench, we're playing older players that are a lot slower, and we're not picking up and not having pace of play at all. Unless Randall's got the ball, in which he just goes like, like a...
And he started this game absolutely fantastic.
Some of the shots just floating into the bucket, all cotton. And down the stretch, he got taken out for an extended period in the third quarter, which I think maybe he should have been on, or Lish should have come out of the game, and it should have been Adnam and Randall. But again, he does get exploited very badly on the defensive end.
Yeah.
First half, he was -10, and he had a lot of points. So,
and he does play a lot of our minutes too. And size-wise, it's understandable that he gets exploited. But we just, unless we're playing Randall and Bowen, or a combination of one of our 3 guards, which is Randall, Adnam, or Wilson and Bowen, you're always going to get that no matter what.
That's it, and they tend to go too small and fast, and it works sometimes, it doesn't work others. I think the execution down there, I mean, Lish chunked that layup with, I think a minute and a half to go. It was so open, it was so, ready to be put through, but not getting it, and Lish had a pretty poor game overall, to be completely honest, shooting 1 from 5 from 3. We're not shooting the 3 ball as a team very well. I think, one thing that Cairns is doing well, Melbourne does quite well most of the time, is they're getting more 3 efforts up. We seem to be using a lot of clock time to play, to set our pace and call out plays, and then I think a lot of the time the play breaks down and like, fuck, we got 5 seconds left, we've got to shoot something.
Yeah.
And, you know, guys are not getting to their spots, i.e. David Ware, and the guys not getting, you know, knocking it down when they're open, i.e. David Ware.
So we are creating those shots. Like I was saying just before we started, our offense feels like we're just trying to create the best possible shot for whoever, which... You know, that's understandable. That's the way we're playing. We've got a really good passer in Bogut. We've got a good shooter in Kickett, who's a big man who could space the floor.
But again, today, or this game, 1 from 6, didn't really shoot. But, you know, was open a few times, but didn't even attempt to shoot the 3 ball. No 3 points attempted. That's his shot. I mean, very, very strange that he didn't at least try and get open to shoot the ball down. But kept going for the pump fake and driving to the bucket. And I think you can't really do that with Melbourne because they collapse the lane really well. And he's not fast enough to blow by anyone. So I would not assume that was a great thing to do in any game in the NBL.
So with Randall, he was obviously shooting well. So they were going back to Randall a little bit.
Which is fair enough. If a guy's hot, you go to him. That's it. And he went a little bit cold and they went away from him. But then they didn't go back to him quickly enough.
Yeah.
I mean, Brad Newley, 2 points.
Yeah, well, what happened with Newley? I mean, he only played 18 minutes. It was basically Bowen 80s minutes. But
Bowen should be eating Ware's minutes.
Well, yeah, it's either Ware or that second guard, basically, which is, you know, part of one of our problems is those 2 guard spots. Both of those guys are undersized.
Yes.
So Bowen's got to be playing as a 2, helping out on the guards, but at the same time, he's probably our fastest and most versatile forward as well. So he's got to help out the forwards as well. We're just missing that extra player in there, which probably David Ware should be, you know, without hating on David Ware too much.
We're not hating on David Ware too much, but he's pretty terrible.
Well, he, you know, for what he's giving us, it's not what we want or need.
Well, it's not what we need. And I think we need to get Bowen into the starting lineup and have, I mean... You need to drop Ware. That's it. I mean, you need to drop him for the next couple of games. You can't keep playing something that isn't working.
Yeah.
Whether that's him not getting to his spots early enough, like he had 2 open wide corner threes. That's if he hit one of them, it's the game one. Like
man, it was unlucky that shot rimmed out.
It rimmed out, but I mean that you make your own luck. And it's about the volume of shots and getting to the right spaces. But he moves through screens. He doesn't set screen properly. I think he had 2 offensive fouls called on him down the stretch as well. You know, using your arm in stupid situations. Like, you're a professional player. You can't get away with this shit, especially in the NBL where they call a tickle. Like, oh, he's been tickled, like, you know, 2 shots. You can't do that. And you know you can't do that. So I don't know why you try and play that game.
Yeah, it's kind of skill-based rather than physical-based.
I just want to read out his stats. So, none from 2 from the field. 6 rebounds, which was played for down the stretch, which weren't too bad actually.
He was rebounding late in that small unit, basically.
Yeah. 3 turnovers. If you don't score points, you shouldn't be turning the ball over. No, honestly.
Yeah, no, I know. I just find it funny. Like, everyone gets upset at him.
It's not even so much flat. So 1 steal and he had 3 fouls, 2 of which were offensive.
Yeah.
Now, that's shit for a professional player.
Yeah, for sure. Even though we're not a high level league,
no.
I still feel like for what he is as a player, it kind of doesn't really fit what that 4 spot needs.
No,
if you know what I mean.
He's not quick enough, so he doesn't stretch the floor.
Yeah,
he doesn't get to his spots early enough.
Yeah,
seems to play a lot in backcourt off the throw in, the pass in. And so he's not getting to his spots. And then they play a high weave and he's just kind of standing there moving through screens and not setting solid screens.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Gaze is telling him to do because he's obviously a product of Gaze. I mean, okay.
I don't know. Like,
he has to be. Mate, go strong. Go strong.
Well, I don't know how you get him scoring. Like, the only way I can
see
get him
So
scoring.
you have to look at off-ball production.
Yeah.
And he has none.
Well, that's just the corner 3 and maybe a post-up shot or like a foul line jumper. That's about it.
But that's fine. I'm talking about his off-ball production. So
yeah,
setting a down screen for Lish to run through, playing a conventional 4-1 pick and roll. Because sometimes they play, I think teams have worked out the 5-1, 5-2 pick and roll with Bogut.
Yeah.
Play it with Ware. He's a big guy.
Yeah,
if he stood in his ground and gave a solid screen, you'd be able to play around it quite well, and they could throw a floater in the lane.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. You see him, he moves like a crab.
Yeah, it's and he doesn't he fake screens as well sometimes.
Hit solid, stand your ground, and let guys move around you.
Yeah, and with a guy like Randall who can handle like that, you need to do it for Randall because of his size and the way he plays. He's lightning quick in transition. And at the one thing I noticed too, I was watching Melbourne. They set a high screen for Ware, and there's a Casper Ware, and there's 2 or 3 dribbles of space in between the screen setter and the next player.
Yeah.
And he's running onto the screen so he can go around the screen and get 2 dribbles past the screener. Whereas we seem to screen sideways for people.
Yes.
Like Randall will go sideways and dribble out to the edge of the 3-point line on the wing.
Yes.
And you're thinking to yourself, no, you've got to set that screen higher. Let Randall actually come off the screen into the lane.
Yeah, into the lane.
And I don't think we run that properly. It just doesn't run properly. No. But you saw against Melbourne did that so many times throughout the game where would just run him straight into Boone.
Yep.
And he cooked us in that first game because Randall was going under the screen all the time. Yeah. And that's how he was cooking us. And in this game, Randall was actually fighting through the screens. But it's such a basic thing, man. It really is a basic proponent of basketball and
setting a solid screen.
Yeah, in the right spot. And you've got obviously the best screen setter probably in the league in Bogut. And it's something that it's a coaching thing they need to work on. It's not just Gaze is a bad coach.
No, I think that's a defensive coach. They've got a coaching staff in there. They should be pulling these games apart and saying, all right, there's no production from Ware. How do we get him more productive? Well, all right, all you have to do is look at screen assists. All right, we want to increase your screen assists. So set a solid screen, set a 4-1 pick and roll down the left side. Get Bogut on the right paint for a post up for that ability to go for the offensive board.
Yeah,
if you're getting him low in the post, if you set a 4-1 pick and roll on the opposite wing, then there's potential for second chance points if that doesn't work. And you play a more high-intensity game.
Yeah.
The problem is Bogut's just going from center to arc, and not really getting inside the paint. He's not a back-down player, but he could be more, involved in offensive boarding because we're getting killed every game in offensive glass.
He's hunting the rebounds. That's his job, is hunting the rebounds. The number 4 is supposed to box out and direct traffic. And that's where
But if you're paying a high 4-1 pick and roll, you've got the best rebounder in the league hunting the offensive glass. Instead of playing...
But I don't think he has the energy to do that, man. You know what I mean?
Don't play him 8 minutes a quarter and put Pinot in for 2. If you do that more often, especially down the stretch, if you're off for 4 minutes, that's what the last play of the game you should be, is 4-1 pick and roll. Yeah. And you get Bogut in the glass to crash the glass. But you don't see that because David Ware doesn't set screens.
It always just seems to come back to David Ware, doesn't it?
You can't blame him for all your woes, but there is zero production from his position in all the minutes. I mean, we can probably... I think we'll do a half-season stats graph for everyone and talk about, but we can talk about what he's averaging. And I dare say he'd be averaging 3 or 4 points a game, 2 to 3 rebounds a game. You're getting more out of your 3-deep bench than out of your starter Ware. So, I mean... Not hating on the guy, but no production from his position.
It's all right, you can hate on him. Who cares?
I don't hate him personally. I just don't like what he's doing for the Kings.
What we need to do. That's why I'm trying not to just go, he's a problem, we need to cut him and get someone else.
No, we don't. We need to... There's a way to play... There's a way to play Ware. And if you're going to play a small against another team... He rebounded quite well at the 5 as a small 5. Yeah. He's much more versatile in that respect than Kickett. Kickett's too slow.
Yeah.
But Kickett's better as a stretch 4. So if you get Ware as small ball 5, Kickett at 4, and you can play minimal minutes. But you want to give Bogut the right amount of rest.
Yeah.
And play those fast games because you've got some of the fastest guards in the league. That's where it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because you got 3 big, slow forwards and 2 fast guards.
Yeah.
Doesn't work because you're trying to play fast ball, and
Yeah,
the 5 is getting to the arc and not getting any further. So when the shot comes up, there's no one in the paint to crash the offensive glass.
And that's where obviously you want Bogut initiating like different types of offense, but he's slow. Like he is slow.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kickett who's the same. He's slow as well. And then Newley, look,
he's got some
Newley
speed.
had just as bad as a game as we're in this game, and he missed another 2 free throws. So he's 0-6 in Melbourne. Like, he's shook, man. Like, I was like, are you shook? Like, what's going on, Newells? Like, you're a seasoned veteran.
Yeah, but Newley will give you 1 bad game and 3 or 4 good games. So you can forgive him for being productionless this game. But again, his minutes were reduced.
Well, on the flip side, Bowen fits that. Like, you can plug Bowen straight into there and go, all right, bring Newley out, plug Bowen straight in. Whereas where you bring Ware out and you're shuffling Bowen up, or you're putting Kicker in there and creating some more problems. Or, maybe you're shifting Newley up to the 4 and then it's not quite there. So, again, it comes back to Ware. Everything comes back to David Ware. Yeah. But, look, I thought Melbourne didn't play as well.
No, they did.
We kind of lost that game more than they beat us in that game.
Yeah, I think down the stretch, they had no momentum.
No.
They set the same play as you were saying pre-pod 3 times for the last 3 buckets.
Yeah.
And exact same play.
In the timeout, like you could hear they had the camera in on the timeout. The assistant, I can't remember his name. I know Vickerman's their coach, but I don't know who their assistant is. He was talking about the play that was something they were basically saying, we'll switch onto either Kickett or switch onto Bowen. And that's, where you'll go at Bowen, Casper Ware will go at Bowen or Kickett. And then you will either drive and score or drive and dish. And they ran it like 4 times and they got 4 different outcomes. One, he got a foul off Bowen. I think the second time, Bowen defended it well and he bricked a shot. The third time, it was Kickett and he ran straight into the lane and there was a miscommunication between Lish and Ware. Lish dropped back into the paint to defend Kennedy at the rim, and Golding was wide open. So you're going, that's a breakdown. Like, Golding wide open for 3, bricks that 3.
Yeah.
And then the exact same play, the next time off of Kickett, Casper Ware comes off, and Lish kind of stays out on Goulding. Ware's sort of David Ware's stunting in the paint, which, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Like, it's the same play. And each time it was this like a different execution. Like, you tried to get out to Goulding to stop that 3, and you leave Kennedy open and you just dished to Kennedy and laid it in. That's where, like, you obviously as a team, like, we need to be doing these sorts of things on the offensive end, but it doesn't feel like we do that. Like, we kind of run a play and then broke down. We'll just try and create something out of anything. And usually that happens, but like, I felt like a couple of times at the end of this game, like I've got it written down here, we actually tried to run some sort of thing like that Lish layup was that he bricked.
Yeah, it was a great play to get him free.
Well, that was the double screen where 4 and 5 go up and they run kind of like an elevator play for Bowen to run through the center and they screen that guy. So, and then Lish just saw, the paint's wide open because everyone's stunted over to cut that off. And he bricked that layup. And then Bowen came through the play in perfect position in front of McCarron, who just shoved him under the basket because he'd got the seal. He was basically just going to like follow that in and dunk it. And look, we should probably rant about the refs as well. I thought they were pretty bad in that game. Without,
you know what, I like Adam Silverman's openness when they just say now in the NBA when they get calls wrong. Yeah, we've reviewed this. The call is wrong. We're going to try and rectify it next game. Yeah, NBL, there's like every second call's like, that's a bit weird. Yeah, that's a bit of a strange call.
It's hard because we've just lost and it feels a bit salty. But
but even some of the wins, I'm like, that was a bad call, and it was Illawarra fouling us. You're like, ooh, that's a bad call.
Well, like, they've got mics on them too, and you can hear the players talking to them. Yeah, and I think there was in the first half, Bogut went straight down the lane. And I think he got ripped low, and he got hit like on the arm.
Oh, he got hit on the arm, yeah.
And he's going to the guy like, I got hit, and the exact same thing happened, and you didn't call anything at the other end, like, and you call this on us at the other end, like, you've got to even it out. And the guy's sort of going, oh, look, you can't talk to me like that.
that.
I'll tee you up if you keep talking to me like that. I'm thinking to myself, that's like, you're on mic, man. Like, why are you showing weakness in this situation? Like, you could at least go to say, all right, Andrew, I've taken note of that. No worries. We'll make sure we look at it and get this right. Like, no, like, it just seemed like, oh, we're missing calls. All right, so just deal with it. Like, and I was like, you can't mic these guys up and have them do this.
You shouldn't mic the NBL refs.
Exactly, and I'm just thinking, like,
part-time wallies, you know. Yeah,
like, that's a bad look for the league. You know, obviously NBA, Andrew Bogut's like an NBA veteran.
Yes. There's slight different variations of rules in FIBA and in the NBA, but I mean, you get hacked on the arm, it's a foul.
In a sense, right? It's a bad look for Bogut to be whinging a lot at the refs.
Yeah.
So I can understand if the refs sort of say to him, Andrew, like, look, just relax. Like, we're going to try and call the game. We've taken on board your notice. No worries. We'll control the game. We'll do it. We'll try. But they just seem to want to just wave him away. Oh, come on, mate. Stop whinging. Stop whinging.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that's not the way to control a game, man. Like, especially a big game, this high profile.
Yeah.
Physical. We've seen games in the last few weeks where you're like, oh, that was a physical game and it was well done. They let the players go. They called anything that was a foul. But in this game, I just felt like it got out of hand. They missed a few calls.
There was a lot of elbows in the back and there was a lot of high elbows. And I'm going to say David Ware's 2 offensive fouls were quite clearly offensive fouls. He was leading with the elbow and pushing the player. But, you know, I think some of, you know, just blatant pushing in the back.
Yeah. Well, that Bowen one on the follow to that Lish brick layup, he just elbowed him in the back. And I stopped the footage on the wide shot and you can see all 3 refs are looking at the ball.
Yeah.
Like, one of you guys has to look at the play. Like, that's the whole point of having 3 refs. You can't all just look at the same
watching.
thing. Like, that's amateur hour stuff.
But that should have been recalled. Well, last 2 minutes. It's kind of
it's a bang play too. But even the way he entered the paint with a perfect seal on the rim, like, you couldn't play that play any better. So I don't understand, even just processing it in your brain, there's no way he could have not missed that follow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless there's a foul, because he was in perfect position sealing off McCarron, and McCarron just threw his elbow straight into him. And he almost like headbutted the underside of the rim.
Yeah.
That's how far he pushed him. So there was things like that. And then it's mainly the talking to the refs that, like, I don't like refs who just go, oh, I'm real sorry. It's hard out here, guys. Like,
yeah,
you gotta be like, no, I'm the ref, champ. Like, I'll call it like this. I'm looking for what you're telling me. I'm trying to work it out. And if we're missing it, sorry. Like, you can't be like that. That doesn't make sense to me anyway. But look, ref rant over. Like, it's hard. Mainly with that pushing the back. Like, Bowen gets 2 of those a game where it's just a soft over the back foul. And it's like, whoa, like, that's soft. Like, like, that was barely a foul. Like, and it happens to Bowen like a fair bit, and for him to just get shoved out of the air like that, I thought
that does happen to a fair bit when he's crashing the glass. It's just like he's gone up for the ball, he's touched the ball, he's first to touch the ball, and some guys decided not to jump and just back into him and say, "Oh drop it over my back." You're like, well, you're not going for the ball, you're blocking out the man. If he's going over the top of you to get the ball, that's not a foul. That's a 50-50 play on kind of
even
thing.
Some where he tries to crash the glass and it's kind of sideways, even like, you know, he's just a big guy as well, and he rebounds over other guards sometimes. But I think that's why that fired me up, because this poor guy gets it like twice a game, and he can't even get like a proper stiff arm in the back under the basket. That's a legitimate offensive foul.
30 seconds left.
I still think we played quite well to get ourselves back in that game. Like, we were, I think, down 8 or 9 at one point. Towards the end of that game.
And we took the lead I think we were 4 points up towards the end.
So we got it back to even, and then, we took the lead and we're even up by 3. It was, when we were down by 10, or 8 or 9 or whatever it was, I kind of felt like, this could be game. Like, Sydney,
Melbourne bricked a lot of shots towards the end, but then Goulding hit a couple in the last half.
Both of those threes he hit were just... one was the
behind
sweep
the back.
behind the back.
That was
nice.
That was
but
classy.
like when you're 0 of 4, it's like... how are you pulling this out at 0-4? Like, get out of here. And the other one was like twisting, fading, leaning out of court. Just a total chuck. I'm like, get out of here, man. Like,
yeah,
why
and then
can't
the
Ware
wide
have
open,
one of those?
the wide open, like, you know, beautiful setup play. He bricks.
Yeah, bricked. And he had foul trouble earlier too, which
they all had foul trouble. I think they were all 2 fouls in the first quarter.
Yeah,
a lot of fouls called. But that's NBL
and then
for
again,
you.
like, that's weird. Like, why are you calling a lot of fouls and then later in the game just letting everything go?
Yeah,
like,
Anyway,
but so he had some time off the court. He didn't play well at all, man.
No, he didn't
so
shoot
he
well.
had like, I'm more than happy to just take a dump all over Goulding when he's playing for Melbourne, but when he's playing for the Boom, it's like, I love him, great player.
Well, no, we'll say when he didn't play well. In this game, he didn't. He only had 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. You know, didn't shoot well, 33%, which is not highly for his standard. Didn't try and get into the paint a lot and was kind of shut down.
He got blocked by Bowen pretty good too.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was great.
Man, Bowen, I can't say enough about him. Like, he played so well in that crunch time. He was given the platform to go out there and influence the game, and he took a big step forward in his Sydney career, let alone his basketball career
in NBA glory.
Yeah. So down the stretch of that game, Randall hit a couple of threes, big threes. Lish had a steal. That was a good steal. And then he found Randall in the corner. And then they ran a play next, and then Randall in the corner. And then that was when Ware bricked that three that just kind of rimmed out. It was, I think Randall actually passed up a shot to give it to Ware.
Yes.
Which
never do that.
you want Randall taking that shot.
Although he was throwing a couple of rainbow balls towards the end there, they were going up into the heavens.
Yeah. But I kind of like that, man. Like, Randall was hot. He had a great game. He was feeling it. He was rolling. I was kind of all right with that. I was like, this guy can't miss. Like, it's.
Oh yeah, he's 35 points. Like, don't get me wrong. Like that's fine. You got to do that. He's what? He's 5'10". So he's our height. He just seems like that ball's really big in his hands, man. And he has to. He almost there's no flatter trajectory. It's almost that complete.
Well, he has to shoot a rainbow. Plus, like, his release, his hand is like right over his left eye.
Yeah,
it's almost like in an angle, so he's almost bringing it around over his head and then shooting it. Not quite like Lonzo Ball, like it's a bit more over his head, but it's that sideways action. But when he's hot, man, he's great.
Oh, he's great. Yeah,
he even had
mid-range game is crazy.
A transition where he blew by like 4 guys out of the transition, then tried to dump it off to, I think it was Newley or Kick it. And the whole thing just happened so quick. And
it was Bogut, because then he went down. Was it Bogut?
No, I think it was Newley. It was either Ware, Newley, or Kick it. Like, it was a tall white guy. And it was like the ball went to the spot, and then the whole play arrived a second later. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he had done everything so quickly, and he'd tossed the ball out. It's
like when he starts going, he's so quick.
Yeah, he's like lightning. But I still feel Melbourne did well to kind of limit our transition opportunities as well, which is kind of how we want to play. Yeah, we want to get in that transition. We want to make the game quickly. They slowed the game down. A lot of fouling. Yeah. Obviously, they had a lot of fouls. We forced them into a timeout, in the fourth quarter. Then that weird sort of shot of Gaze talking about Kevin Lish.
Yeah.
That was...
I love Kevin. He's such a good bloke.
He is a stud. An absolute stud. And, poor guy, he goes up and bricks that layup. And then the next time down, Casper Ware hits that three, and it was Lish's man. He let him go. Yeah. I think he was just thinking about that missed layup and just went, damn it.
That was the game.
He hit that three to make it 82-80. Then Barlow fouled Randall off the exact same play. We ran that double screen up high. Randall pretty much would have gone straight to the bucket as well. Same play, basically.
Yeah.
But he fouled out. And then the tip-in. We were talking about it, man. Boxing out.
You got to box out strong. Yeah. Something David Ware doesn't do.
I didn't go back and I turned it off.
It didn't. It was just like everyone was.
I know Bogut was holding on to Boone, really trying to wrestle him out for the rebound, but I didn't see who was in there.
No one else was. Ware wasn't in there. Sorry, it was Bowen and it was Kickett.
Yeah.
Again, rather than you just got to box your man out, even if they, even if they slap the ball out and don't go for the tip in, all right, it gives you a couple of seconds extra to set them up, and then they've got to try and shoot, which is going to make the game a bit easier to win. But again, just a silly play down the end, and a bit of a brain fart for them all. And obviously Lish losing the game for us with bricking that layup. I'm going to throw it out there. But no, we love Lish. He's still great.
Nah, for sure. But it sucks, man, because I felt that was a really winnable game in general.
I thought we'd had it with a couple of minutes to go. I thought, all right, we've kind of cemented this. I think we're a better team. I think we've got some better defensive options down the stretch. But it wasn't to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we limited them to 5 from 20 from 3, which our perimeter defense this season has been, I don't know if it's the best in the league, but we've given up 227 looks, 68 makes, so opposition's shooting 30%. Which
is great.
Which is fantastic. Well, we've given up a lot of looks. It's 25
Yeah, but
a game.
I mean, some of those... it was the Cairns game? Yeah, the Cairns game where they just... I think it was 40 looks out of that one game.
It was 10 of 35.
Yeah, there we are. See?
They shot 28%. The worst perimeter defense for us this season has been Adelaide in the second game.
Yeah, but that's when they were hitting Hail Marys in there. Fitter and Turner from down the pub was hitting 4 from 4.
It was 15 of 25. They shot 60%. But no other team has shot better than 36% against us. So I thought we defended the perimeter well. Other teams must know we've got to get at Randall and Adnam and shoot over
defensively,
them.
Pretty much.
So I wonder how much that plays into it as well.
Going down the stretch. We're playing... I think if you got them on the court, you have to play small fast ball. You've got to push transition. You've got to go for the steal. You've got to play the full court press. You play the high intensity. Yes, I hate full court press, but if you're playing small ball with 2 small guards, you play the full court press, you play high intensity for a couple of minutes, get them tired, and then bring on your big lot, slow change
always
the flow
moving.
of play. But that's a coaching thing. I'm not an NBL coach, but that's something we both see that could potentially benefit the team to counteract the fact that we got such small guards. I think when you get Wilson back on, Wilson's 6'3", 6'4", he's not too bad. He's not undersized for the 2 spot, so he can guard most 2s. But Adnam and Randall on the court at the same time is pretty unserviceable from a defensive end. They can just pull up and shoot. And get some pretty clear eye looks.
Stats don't say that. Stats say that we're good at guarding the perimeter.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about. They play mid-range game.
That's a strange thing.
They play the mid-range game. I mean, the perimeter's the perimeter.
They run Randall off screens a lot.
Yeah.
And they ran him through some screens in this Melbourne game a fair bit. Because basically he was going under the screens on Casper Ware in the last game, and Casper Ware played really well. I thought he outplayed Casper Ware in this game. It's just that there's fundamental team glue things that Melbourne do, which is going to the same play, screening properly on a down screen, up high.
Again, we are a relatively new team as compared to Melbourne. Melbourne have played together for a little while, have a good cohesive group of players that have played for a couple of seasons and obviously won last year.
Yep.
So, Sydney may not win this year. They may win next year. We've got a couple of years really to get this right. But yeah, that's I think the nature of the game, and we just have to move on to the next.
Yep.
We've got a week off, by the way.
Yep. That's pretty good.
We've got some internationals going on. We've got Australia, the Boomers playing Iran and Qatar. We've already qualified for the World Cup and the Olympics, so this is really garbage time.
Yeah.
It literally is. It's garbage minutes. No one really cares.
I think Nathan Jawai or whatever his name is, got caught up.
Yeah, they called up. What'd you call it? Old dreadlocks.
Who's that? Old mate
Moller.
dreadlocks. Oh, Moller, yeah.
Yeah, he plays.
He
9
played
minutes.
terrible in that game.
He plays like 9 minutes a game, and you get caught up into the Australian squad. So they really are just testing.
Well, he wasn't good in that game, man.
No,
he missed a couple of threes. He punished us in that other game defensively. And McCarron played all right. McCarran's craft. He hit this layup that hit like the protective strip, off the bottom of the rim and then in. I was like,
that was the reverse when Bogut had over him and it spun up over it. Yeah, I know.
And they're going, oh, what a crafty finish. I'm like, it hit that protective strip. Like, it wasn't a crafty finish.
It then spun in. All right, so we've got next week off. We come back on December the 6th.
Yep.
And we play Perth. So this will be interesting because they are top of the table by a long way.
Yep, 8-game streak or 9-game streak.
9-game now. Yeah. Bryson Cotton obviously playing.
Is it Bryson or Bryce?
Bryson.
Yeah, I think you said Bryson Cotton.
Did it? I'm going to call him B Cotton.
B Cotton.
B Cotton. And then we are away again, I think, in New Zealand.
Yeah, 3 away games.
This is, I think we're going to have to brick one of these games. That is a big time difference between Perth and, I know we've got Perth at home.
I think Perth
is at home. Yeah.
New Zealand, then Perth, then Illawarra.
So no, we've got Perth at home, New Zealand away, and then we've got Perth away.
Perth away, and then Illawarra away.
Yes.
Let's be professional about this.
Let's be professional. That is correct.
Before.
That is correct. No,
because we talked about it on the last one because we did a bit of a Perth preview on the last podcast.
The time difference is going to be the one that kills us from New Zealand all the way back out to Perth.
Well, going into this, like, it would have been good to get the 2 wins. Like, that's a heartbreaking loss against Melbourne. I felt like we could have won that game. You know, it would have given us some momentum going into the Perth game. I just don't know what to expect now against Perth. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting clash. We're at home, so it should be a little bit more in our favour. They've got to travel a fair way, but again, they're on a 9-1 run.
Yeah.
And, moving into some good territory. But again, we catch fire at home. We've been playing a little bit better at home lately.
Yeah.
And
we're coming off a bit of a break too, so hopefully
a bit of a rest, and then we should smash the Breakers. We seem to be the Breakers bogey team. We just play our lights out against them. I think Bogut dominates the 5 spot, and
Daniel Johnson, I think it is. Yeah,
indeed.
Is it? No, Sean Long.
Sean Long. DJ's at Adelaide.
Yeah,
and then the Harry Froling.
Yeah, he's been playing all right actually. So.
Yeah, he has some skills from a big man.
Yeah,
it's good to see. All right, so. We're going to leave it at that.
It's Excellent. A shame.
It's a shame.
We lost that. It was like I was bummed out, but not really that bummed out. You know, it was annoying, and then I just went, no, there's actually some positives in this.
There's a positive. I think Bowen's the positive for me.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it really was. Like, I was so proud of him, the way he played, and getting those crunch time minutes. But hopefully we can pick up that win against Perth. And then the big away trip, get some more road wins.
Well, you have only played 9 games compared to Melbourne's 12.
Yes.
So on the win-loss, we're doing okay. We're 2 games behind 4, but with the same wins. So we got a couple here. We're going to cement that 3 spot going into the playoffs, hopefully.
Well, there's plenty of time. I think there's like 28 games, isn't there?
There's 28 games, but you Perth are looking smashing.
I feel like in this league,
it can change on a dime, though.
Yeah, two or three losses around the corner, and it could be, because we lost a couple of games, and then we won games, and then we're 5-5, and then it's like, is that what it is? 5-3? Sorry,
5-4.
5-4, close.
So yeah, above 500. All right. Well, remember, subscribe, like,
please.
Share.
Yep.
Let us know what you think. Comment. Do whatever you need to.
Yep.
And Aussies Taking Over the NBA is our NBA podcast that is going gangbusters.
Yep.
Up to episode 40 odd, and continuing to wrap those games, give you some good info on what's happening with all the Aussies in the league, and we will be doing our G League monthly wrap up pretty soon.
Yep.
Some Aussies in the G League. Mitchell Creek, ex-Adelaide 36ers, absolutely covering up for the Long Island Nets.
That's good. It's a shame for Adelaide, but it's great for Mitch Creek in general. He's playing really well.
Playing really well over there. And Isaac Humphreys,
former Kings.
Former Rookie of the Year, is at the Erie Bayhawks in Atlanta. And not playing very well. But that's okay. We'll bring you that later.
It's a bit harsh.
But stats don't lie. Anyway.
Yep.
Good seeing you all. Peace out.
Peace.